Harry's wife, hate rhetoric. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. An article in the Guardian newspaper, written by Harry Taylor, Jamie Grierson and Tom Ambrose, is headlined, "Harry and Harry's wife say Jeremy Clarkson spreads hate rhetoric." As you'll know, previously Jeremy Clarkson wrote an article where he explained that he hated Harry's wife and that he would look forward to the day of seeing her paraded naked through British towns, basically having poo flung at her, similar to the walk of shame that Cersei did in Game of Thrones. He was roundly criticised by many, supported by others, and had various complaints raised against him, which resulted in him having to issue an apology which wasn't really an apology, as I've explained in parts past him. However, there is a response that has come to the TV presenter's message. The Duke and Duchess have accused Jeremy Clarkson of writing articles that spread hate, rhetoric, dangerous conspiracy theories, and misogyny, after the Grand Tour presenter apologised to the couple over a controversial article he wrote for The Sun. Here, his apology, of course, has not been accepted, and instead there is the assertion of control over Mr. Clarkson by rejecting his apology and instead engaging in provocation and labelling. Of course, we see the usual hypocrisy that has come from the House of Sussex, generated, of course, by the narcissist Harry's wife, because she spreads hate rhetoric. What she does is she basically says, "You are not allowed an opinion unless it accords with mine," which of course is very typical of a narcissist, but that of itself is dangerous rhetoric. She goes round explaining to people, your views are irrelevant. You're a hater, you're a misogynist, if you express an opinion which criticises me. She, through various lieutenants, causes people to use the term hate when writing about her. Now, of course, Clarkson did say that he hated her, but many people do not. They dislike her. They despise her behaviours, or they're just simply critical of the way that she conducts herself. But as you know, in the mind of Harry's wife, you're either with her or against her. And her narcissism does this. When you point out something that's critical of her, even though there might be evidence to support it and it's justified, her narcissism interprets that as hatred. And therefore, you are a hater. And therefore, what you say about her, you're not allowed to say about her. You're not allowed to point out her hypocrisies. You're not allowed to point out her pity plays. You're not allowed to point out that she engages in behaviour which completely contradicts the things that she talks about. You're not allowed to point out that she engages in bandwagoning, failing to follow up on things that she says she's going to be involved in. You're not allowed to point out that she has ostracised various members of her family and her in-laws also. You're not allowed to point out that she makes it all about her. You're not allowed to point out the various lies and inconsistencies that have come out when she tells her various stories. You're not allowed to point out the various character trait acquisitions that she engages in, where she steals the events and achievements of other people and passes them off as her own. If you do any of that, which is all based upon evidence, which is all based upon her behaviours, you are roundly criticised and viewed as a hater. Indeed, she is the one that generates the conspiracy theories in terms of suggesting, for instance, that the British media called her children the N-word. There is no evidence whatsoever. That is a conspiracy. It is a theory. She engages in racist behaviour. She makes race an issue where it isn't. She plays the race card. And therefore we see once again the hypocrisy, the contradictory behaviours of Harry's wife, as she causes a statement to be issued accusing Jeremy Clarkson of spreading hate rhetoric, which is what she does, dangerous conspiracy theories, which is what she does, and misogyny. Well, she might not necessarily be involved in misogyny, but she calls and claims misogyny and racism where it doesn't exist. The article continues, more than 20,000 complaints were made to IPSO, the independent regulator of most of the UK's newspapers and magazines, about the column in December, in which Clarkson said of Harry's wife that he was dreaming of the day when she is made to parade naked through the streets. In a statement on Monday evening, a spokesperson for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex said, on the 25th of December 2022, Mr. Clarkson wrote solely to Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. The contents of his correspondence were marked private and confidential. While a new public apology has been issued today by Mr. Clarkson, what remains to be addressed is his long-standing pattern of writing articles that spread hate rhetoric, dangerous conspiracy theories, and misogyny. Now, undoubtedly, he does engage in such behaviours, but as always, it's a bit rich having somebody chastising him for doing that when they engage in the same things themselves. Unless each of his other pieces was also written in a hurry, as he states, it is clear that this is not an isolated incident shared in haste, but rather a series of articles shared in hate. The presenter who became a household name during his tenure as a presenter of BBC's Top Gear between 2002 and 2015 revealed on Monday that he had contacted Harry and Harry's wife on Christmas morning amid the fallout to say sorry. On the same day, a report emerged in Variety, the US entertainment industry magazine, citing unnamed sources that Amazon Prime would not be working with Clarkson beyond the seasons of the Grand Tour and Clarkson's farm that have been commissioned. A spokesperson for Amazon Prime declined to comment on the Variety report. Clarkson is no stranger to ignominy, having been sacked by the BBC in 2015 for an unprovoked physical and verbal attack that left a member of the Top Gear production team bleeding and seeking hospital treatment. Assertion of control, expression of heated fury, physical violence, verbal violence. In the column published on the 16th of December, he said he hated Harry's wife on a cellular level and added, "At night I'm unable to sleep as I lie there, grinding my teeth and dreaming of the day when she is made to parade naked through the streets of every town in Britain, while the crowds chant 'shame' and throw lumps of excrement at her. Everyone who's my age thinks the same way, but what makes me despair is that younger people, especially girls, think she's pretty cool. They think she was a prisoner of Buckingham Palace, forced to talk about nothing but embroidery and kittens." Harry discussed the column in an interview promoting his autobiography Spare, in which he said the column was horrific and is hurtful and cruel towards my wife. Clarkson was also criticised by his own daughter, Emily, an author and podcast host who said, "I want to make it very clear that I stand against everything that my dad wrote about Harry's wife." The Sun, which took the column off its website at the TV host's request, apologised, while he tweeted that he had put his foot in it. It then makes mention of the Instagram post, which I've mentioned in parts passing. Clarkson, also the presenter of ITV's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, said he had not realised the offence the column would cause because he did not read it through to somebody else before submitting it and was in a hurry. Deflection. He added, "I knew what had happened straight away. I've been thinking of a scene in Game of Thrones, but I've forgotten to mention this, so it looked like I was actually calling for revolting violence to rain down on Harry's wife's head. I was mortified, and so was everyone else. My phone went mad. Very close friends were furious. Even my own daughter took to Instagram to denounce me." The 62-year-old said ITV and Amazon were incandescent. "I therefore wrote to everyone who works with me saying how sorry I was, and then on Christmas morning I emailed Harry and Harry's wife in California to apologise to them too." This, of course, is demonstrative of the way that Harry's wife rejects this, and in a sense, of course, it's not a true apology, as I've explained elsewhere. But once again, it provides me with an opportunity to demonstrate the hypocrisy and contradictory behaviour that Harry's wife as a narcissist engages in, that she decries anybody for criticising her, whilst going on and behaving in a similar manner about other people. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.